This Pitch Breakfast video is brought to you by Spangler & Agins, attorneys for Charlotte's startup community.
Good morning. My name is Chris Dix. My company is Thoughtpost, and my kids don't want to talk to me on the phone. It's okay, it's not personal. They're good kids for teenagers, but they don't like to talk, they like to text. And same is true of my wife, and even my 69-year-old aunt would rather text with me than talk on the phone. And I didn't tell them that I'm using their pictures this morning, so please don't tell them. But they're not alone. The truth is that messaging is the most popular communication form for adults under 50 and my aunt. It's fast, it's natural, and it's on demand. The difficulty is for businesses to use messaging as a platform to engage their customers. So they tend to use apps instead. But as many people in this room know, application development is not easy. It's expensive, it's hard to get users, it's hard to keep users. So what's the solution? Well, we believe the solution is automating messaging with app-like features using chatbots. Now, chatbots, a lot of companies are doing chatbots, and so there's a lot of over-promising and under-delivering. So what are we doing differently with chatbots for businesses? Well, the first thing is we're keeping it simple. We may be the only company who does Pitch Breakfast this year who proudly proclaims that we have no artificial intelligence in our product whatsoever. What we do have is a lot of regular intelligence, business intelligence that comes from you and comes from me, designing a good conversational flow. The next thing we do is multiple messaging channels. Your customers don't just use one messaging app, they use many. They use Facebook, Twitter, SMS, iMessage. We support them all so that you don't have to focus on one particular platform, and we can translate between the messaging formats using a technology we've developed. And we're not looking to create any virtual assistants or robot buddies for you. We're trying to solve specific problems, and here's the one we solve the best. Managed service providers, companies that provide IT services to companies. They want to let their customers create support tickets. So we've created a chatbot that allows their customers to send in a message, create a support ticket using ConnectWise, which is the leading platform for managed service providers. And then optionally, after automatically creating that ticket, it can branch over into a live chat with a customer support engineer who's using Slack, bridging between the two communication channels automatically. No other company is doing that today. We are. So a little bit about the market and how we're going to make money, because that's important. We charge a monthly subscription fee of $50 a month, starting at $50 a month, with higher pricing tiers for additional communication methods and additional integrations. So our focus on the market is the US managed service provider market of managed service providers using ConnectWise, because that's the software we integrate best with so far. But the larger MSP market, which we think we could reach, is much better. My name is Chris Dix. I am the founder and chief developer of Thoughtpost, and I've been making software since I was 12 years old. But more recently, I am a former Microsoft MVP. I believe that conversational interfaces are the future of software development, and I code better than I pitch. So, today, we've bootstrapped our way to an MVP. We have 2 paying customers, and our focus is on the managed service provider market, like I mentioned. But the road ahead, we need to make certain improvements to our software. It's not easy to onboard new customers right now. We need better tutorials, better automated billing. Right now, we have to get too involved with each new customer. So we need to get some more customers to make that happen. And we're going to continue to target managed service providers, but we want to keep our eyes open for other opportunities. So what I'm asking for? Well, I've kind of received it right now because what I'm asking for is your attention. I want to get as many introductions, partners, mentors, advisors, just opportunities and answers to the questions that I don't know the answer to. And I feel like the best resources for that are in this room. I'm not asking for any money unless you want to be a customer, and then, yes, please. I'm Thoughtpost. This is my company, and let's have a conversation. Thank you.
Chris, I enjoyed your pitch. I think that you're, that right balance of, you got self-deprecating, you're really trying to involve everyone. I mean, I feel like everyone in this room wants to help you. So given the fact that that's your ask, I think that you did a great job. I loved how you broke down your experience. I thought you just did a great job. Boom, 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 a little bit of humor. You obviously, have had this experience within, software development, which is a good thing. You need that. Tell me a little bit about, who is your ideal customer, and who else is doing this, maybe not exactly how you're doing it, but sort of maybe in this space?
Sure. Well, the chatbot space is kind of a crowded space, and that's one of the difficulties I face. Companies that are doing it, like Drift, Intercom, tend to be focused more on web chat and providing a method for capturing sales leads for companies. Companies like Microsoft and Google are focusing on developer experience and letting people like me make bots, but rather than focusing on specific business problems. There are also companies like ChatFuel, ManyChat that are closer to this, that are supposed to let people come on and design a chatbot themselves, but they don't make it easy to solve specific problems. And I feel like that my ideal customer, as you asked, is this managed service provider. It's a market that I'm a little bit familiar with due to my IT background. It seems to be underserved by the chatbot community and the chatbot platforms that exist. And ConnectWise in particular, which is their leading customer support platform, is really underserved. And from a chat standpoint, that company provides the chat solution, but it's only live chat with customer support engineers. And managed service providers of all people like to be early adopters of technology to automate these kind of things.
Yeah, and I'm familiar with Intercom and how that solution works. When you had it up on the screen, I was like, okay, is this like Intercom? So is this? But you're driving across platforms outside of a website.
Yes.
Okay, and so you have to have a customer base to load into your software, so that you can then interface with them.
Yeah, the idea being rather than capturing people who are coming to your website for the first time, for the customers we're setting up. The idea would be something like you could attach it to your Twitter direct message account. So people who are already following you or come to follow you can be your customers, and then we can actually authenticate them and let them do more than just following you, but actually using services you provide through the messaging platform.
Yeah, because that was the one thing I was trying to figure out. Is a lot of times people are trying to create that that customer, that lead. You're taking existing engagement, if you will, and then trying to deepen that relationship.
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify. Again, and also, in case that wasn't clear for the group,
thank you.
Since you're asking for help. You have some thoughts?
I do.
You know this space more than I do. So.
I got lots of thoughts. I'm not a software engineer, but I do play one on TV. So, this is a massive space, obviously, right? And so there's a couple things that first of all, I think if you're successful here, it's a really interesting and obviously huge opportunity. So I'm going to be a little bit critical because I think it's to your benefit. I think the beginning of the pitch, it's endearing because I like you, you're a nice guy, and to Christy's point, people are going to want to listen, and so I appreciate that part of your personality. But it feels a little bit schizophrenic to me to start with the description of your wife and your kids and the consumer use cases, and then you got to the end, and that was the only thing that I cared about, which is an enterprise use case, because there's money in an enterprise use case, and you described how you want to go to market and the kind of customer you need, and really the core value proposition, which is an integration core value proposition that the bot's doing, which is integrating all the various collaboration elements and the messaging and case management, all that stuff that managed service providers have to deal with. So I would love, so it's fun, like I like the idea and I like the presentation, but my personal preference would be something that's more hard hitting. There are thousands of companies that have this problem. There are hundreds of platforms that are generating these engagements. There is a lack of integration at that level currently. We as a company have 8 of these platforms that we manage across 15 different customers. And so I see a really clear problem statement, and I would love the pitch to be just a little bit more enterprisey and a little bit more B2B and a little bit more hard hitting, because I think it's a really big problem that you could make a lot of money solving if you can get it solved. So I just would have liked maybe some stats, how big this problem is, I mean, the characterizing the revenue and how you monetize. I think these kind of high transaction and kind of integration, plays are generally, a lot of times they're licensed, sometimes they're metered, and they're based on volume, and so I'd be interested in that side of it. I'd like to really understand, like, how much can you make off a customer, for instance? So when you tell me that in your first 2 customers that you've got, like, what are you monetizing? How much per month? Is it transaction based? Is it licensed? I'd like to hear a little bit about that.
Sure. Well, for our first 2 customers, we're charging, we're still sort of exploring the pricing model, to be honest with you. We're charging $300 a month for each of the 2 customers. That is a combination of supporting them on web chat, SMS, and Twitter. Okay. And we're probably going to have to charge a little more going forward on Twitter because there are costs associated with that and with SMS. We're trying to figure out exactly how much each tier needs to be because some of these communication channels do actually incur a cost. So things like Facebook, web chat, we can get away with a flat pricing model, and it's pretty much okay. The system itself is built really to scale and very cheaply, so we're actually profitable with even just the first customer in terms of the infrastructure or back-end system. But we believe that MSPs are probably going to be around the $300 a month price range for this ConnectWise integration. I want to offer a lower tier solution for companies that maybe don't need this level of integration. If you need something like just a frequently asked question list on a website, we could get away with $50 a month really easily. But I feel like pricing is one of those areas where I don't know all the answers, and I'm hoping to meet some people who might help me with that sort of exploration.
Are you exposing it as endpoints? Can it be coded against, or is it something that you anticipate having to integrate and implement for people?
Actually, yes, it's wide open from an integration standpoint. Not security-wise, but of course. But we already have an API set up. So, and the integrations that we're doing with ConnectWise and with Slack in terms of creating channels and things like that are already open and scriptable for the managed service providers. And we did that with them in mind because we know how much, that's a more technical customer than somebody who wants to stick a bot on their website. We're talking about somebody who really already has probably got some level of coding going on inside their organization, even if it's just scripting. And so, we have a full REST and JavaScript API available for the platform.
How many people do you have working with you on this?
I've brought in a contractor on and off to help with some of the visuals and some of the documentation. I hope to bring them back as we get more customers because that's kind of the area where I am able to do the least, but it's mostly just me.
And so you're doing biz dev too?
Yes, which is unfortunate.
Welcome to founder.
Yes, startup mode.
So that's where I could really use a co-founder or a partner is in the business development side. That's not my background. The technical stuff comes very easily to me, but the business side is a learning experience.
When does this get interesting? So you have 2 customers, you're sort of in this. You're learning. Great, all things you should be doing at this point. But when does this get, how many customers does it take to get interesting? Like, is there a period of time you can say, if I can get this, this, and this, then I'm off to the races?
My goal would be to add a couple of customers a month for this year to get to 50 customers by the end of the year. That would be a monthly recurring revenue level with the MSP customer base that we're going for, that I would think it would be worthwhile to bring somebody on full-time, at least for support and business development type work. So.
I think we've got a minute left. Is anybody going to engage the audience? Anybody got any questions from the audience? No? Okay. I'll meet with you. I'd like to meet with you after, and we'll have a cup of coffee someday, and I'll take a look at what you got. This is an interesting problem. Like I said, we've got a zillion platforms at my business, and we support customer platforms, so we can't buy and use a universal platform. We have a massive integration problem, and so I'm always interested to hear people that are working on kind of data orchestration layers, and so I'll meet with you and talk about it.
That's fantastic. Thank you.
All right, Chris,
Thanks everybody. Thanks.